My Hispanic wife took our kids to Paris with her rich Hispanic lover, but one forgotten envelope in my Hispanic mother's attic revealed a secret that changed everything.
6 months ago, if you'd asked me who Marcus Foster was, I would have told you he was a broke mechanic. A man living in his dead mother's house, haunted by the ghost of a life he was supposed to have. My wife, Sarah, had left me. She took our 2 kids, Emma and Tyler, and moved to Paris with her boss. Her new lover? She said they deserved a better life. A life that didn't smell like motor oil and bankruptcy. I can still hear the door clicking shut behind her, the final sound of my world collapsing. For 18 years, I'd poured my soul into my auto repair shop. It was my inheritance from Robert, the man who adopted me, the only father I ever knew. He died of a heart attack, sudden and unfair, and I took my grief and turned it into grease and steel. Classic cars, tune-ups, late nights under the fluorescent lights, I did it all for my family. For Sarah, for Emma, for Tyler. Then the dominoes started to fall, the economy tanked. My customers, once loyal, disappeared. A frivolous lawsuit bled me dry, and my insurance company cut me loose. Through it all, I thought Sarah would be my rock. Instead, she chose Laurent, a man who could offer her fancy dinners and European vacations. A man who could whisk my children across an ocean. I hired a lawyer, a tired old guy named Patterson. He didn't mince words. Without money, Marcus, you don't stand a chance. French courts will side with the parent who offers stability. Sarah had stability. She had a new job, a wealthy partner, and a Paris apartment. I had a failing business, crippling debt, and a mother who was dying. 3 months after the cancer diagnosis, she was gone. I moved into her house, not because I wanted to, but because I had nowhere else to go. Her home, frozen in time with its floral wallpaper and quiet rooms, became my prison. Every day was a battle against memories and despair. One afternoon, I was in the attic, trying to clear out a lifetime of forgotten things. Surrounded by dusty Christmas ornaments and old tax documents, my life literally cracked open. I stepped on a loose floorboard. It groaned, then gave way. Underneath, there was a brittle, taped-up envelope. My hands trembled as I opened it. Inside was a yellowed newspaper clipping. The headline read, "Prominent businessman's family vanishes October 12, 1983. The photo showed a woman who looked exactly like my mother, but 20 years younger. She was holding a toddler, me. The caption read, "Catherine Bennett and son Marcus missing." My heart hammered against my ribs. I dug deeper into the hole. There it was, a birth certificate. My name, Marcus Bennett. Mother, Catherine Bennett. Father, Gregory Bennett, a name I'd never heard. He was listed as a billionaire real estate developer. Everything I thought I knew, my entire 43 years of life, was a lie. My name wasn't Foster. My father wasn't just a kind mechanic named Robert. I called my cousin Kevin, my hands shaking so hard I could barely dial. He rushed over. We stood in that dusty attic, staring at the proof of a stolen life. "This is insane," he whispered, his eyes wide. Did she kidnap you?" The truth, it turned out, was so much more complicated. My mother had one sibling she ever mentioned, an Aunt Carol. I found her number in an old address book. When she heard the tremor in my voice, the dam of secrets she'd held for 40 years finally broke. "She made me swear," Carol cried over the phone. "Marcus, your mother was running for her life." And then the whole story poured out. Back in 1983, my mother, Catherine, wasn't a kidnapper. She was a victim. She fled in the dead of night, her arms covered in bruises, terrified out of her mind. She showed up on Carl's doorstep, whispering, "He will find us. He never stops." She wasn't talking about Gregory, my biological father. She was talking about his business partner, a man named Richard Cray. Cray was a predator. He had become obsessed with my mother, stalking her, harassing her. One night, while Gregory was on a business trip overseas, Cray tried to force his way into our home. My mother called the police, but Cray was powerful. He used his influence and the report vanished. In that moment, Catherine realized no one could protect her, not Gregory, who was thousands of miles away. Not the police, who were in Cray's pocket. She knew that sooner or later, Cray would not just come for her, but for her son. For me. So she ran. Aunt Carol helped her build a new identity from scratch. Catherine Bennett died and Margaret Foster was born. She moved us to Duluth, a city hours away where no one knew her name. That's where she met Robert. A good, honest man who ran a small repair shop. She told him everything, and he didn't run. He loved her anyway. He loved me anyway. He chose to be my father, and for that I will be forever grateful. Now, I faced an impossible question. After 40 years, should I call Gregory Bennett? The billionaire who thought his wife had abandoned him and stolen his son? I found the number for his company. My finger hovered over the keypad. What could I even say? Finally, I just did it. I got through to his assistant, and I said the only words that mattered. It's about October 12, 1983. Tell him Marcus is calling. There was a pause, a muffled exchange, and then a new voice on the line. It was trembling. This is Gregory Bennett. Is it really you? I told him where I was. He didn't hesitate. He begged me to come to his office in Minneapolis. The 3-hour drive felt like a journey across time. Each mile marker pulled me further away from the life of Marcus Foster and deeper into the unknown world of Marcus Bennett. When I walked into his sprawling office, he just froze. He was an older man, but I could see the resemblance. He stared at me like he was seeing a ghost he'd spent half his life praying for. You look just like her, he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. Just like Catherine, he had no idea. For 40 years he believed she had left him, that she had taken me without a word. When I told him the truth about Richard Cray, about the fear, about why she ran, his hands started to shake. Tears, decades in the making, fell onto his polished oak desk. She ran because of him, Gregory choked out. Because I failed to protect her. He opened a locked drawer and pulled out a file. It was all there. His own private investigators' reports, hidden police notes he'd managed to get, evidence of Cray's obsession. He had never stopped looking. He had never stopped loving her. She saved you, I said, the words feeling heavy and true. Gregory nodded, a mixture of profound grief and pride on his face. He looked at me, his son, a stranger he had just met. He looked at the pain in my eyes, the weariness of a man who had lost everything. Then his expression hardened with a resolve I was just beginning to understand. And now, he said, his voice quiet but laced with steel, let me save your children. And just like that, everything changed. My fight for Emma and Tyler was no longer a lost cause. It was a war, and I had just been given an arsenal. Thank you for listening to my story. It's been a wild ride, and it's far from over. If you want to see what happens next, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. We're just getting started.